Let's commence. 7:08 p.m. here.
So
Yeah, is that her? Is she back? Joy. Oh, there she is. So I've got the agenda in front of me. We'll start off. Typical start off review and approval of previous meeting minutes. I don't think we have any minutes from our last meeting available at the moment, so that'll be deferred. And let's, Kathy, do we have any meeting minutes of any sort from that are due?
I was not in the previous meeting, so
Okay.
I didn't take any minutes. But
All
could
right.
you also tell me who's online?
Oh yeah, Ellie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ellie Tropiano. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm part of the Wakefield Youth Council. And Mrs. Lieber reached out to me, and we had a meeting and talked about your council here. And I am here to just observe and see if I want to continue with being a liaison. So yeah.
So she's working with the
Great,
youth,
thank you.
the youth council, and which I think is supported through the school department and the health department, right? Carolyn Lieber asked her to attend as a liaison to, I think, the arts council as well as the youth council. So it's sort of a combination between the arts council, formerly the cultural council, and what we do. So all right, cool. So our meeting
we
minutes.
still don't know who the other person is.
What?
The 617 person.
Oh, is that Tracy maybe on the phone?
No.
No, I see Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 4-5.
Yeah. It's a public meeting, so whoever they are, they
Oh,
are.
you know what? That's my number.
That's great. I thought we had a mold.
No mold.
All right.
Oh, man.
So the second item on the agenda after meeting minutes, which are deferred, I'm not even actually sure if we have to actually write them because the meeting is recorded. So there are minutes of it. There are video minutes. I think they're still taking the manual minutes until we're told otherwise, but I'm not super concerned about that because we can go back to it. And if I'm told to clean it up, we'll figure out a way to clean it up. Number 2 is our front projection sign. Nothing really new there. The lights are on it. We still need the spotting adjusted just a little bit so that when you come up Albion Street, the light doesn't shine in your eye. It shines more on the sign. The light pointing towards Main Street is a little bit high. So when people drive down, it catches them in the eyeball. And so I need to talk to Bob Sardella about that. No skin off Bob's back with finishing up construction and everything. It just hasn't made it to the top of the list. As far as that goes. That was item number 2. I'm going to keep it there until I fix the spotting so that I have a placeholder for it. Item number 3, there's many items under there. It's our building maintenance, various things that are going on. One of the things before I do the general construction almost ending, I'm going to talk about so I don't forget. I think people know via text and communication internally within the group. North Star Realty, Laurie Hunt, donated a $900 iRobot vacuum for the facility. So it's the super high end one. It was spec'd out by Doug, who's not here tonight, but I've been following up with her on funding and a lot of other people for other things that we need as we start to spend most of our money and still need some other stuff, given that our facilities come like a really long way. And so Doug had spec'd this out. I think it all talked about it internally. It is a pricey item, but a needed one, given where we've elevated ourselves to and the usage. And so I'd spoken to Laurie maybe 6 months ago and talked about donations and various things we were doing. And at that time, she wasn't ready to make a donation. And then I had this info from Doug, and we all seemed to like it. And so I talked to her again and told her that this is something we were looking for. And about 2 days later, she came back and she bought it. It's a very generous donation, especially
Yes.
For what it is. We will have her on our website as a sponsor. I would say, unless anyone has an objection, I think it's at least a year or more for buying something like that. She'll be on the website. We don't really have any rates for that kind of stuff, but she'll be on the website. We'll do a press release, and then we'll thank her. We'll thank her kindly a million times and in every public forum that we can, because it's a really cool thing. It's at my house now. I haven't even taken it out of the box. I've just been too busy, but we'll get it, maybe this weekend. We'll get the thing down there and figure out how to use it and that sort of stuff. So that's good. Does anybody have any questions on the vacuum thing? Okay, hearing none, I'll go on. Our general construction is almost complete. We still have some items open. I think the place looks outstanding, and I'm excited about it. I think there's lots of stuff sort of still happening, but as just a general call for comments, does anybody want to talk about anything in general regarding construction that is not a bullet point item underneath it? All right.
I'm at a disadvantage because I can't find the agenda.
Ah, okay. Right.
Okay, good.
So if you go to the town hall page,
It's
on
on,
it's on the bottom right-hand section as on the cover page, and it's listed under tonight's meeting.
Okay.
so it's on the town website in a couple places, actually. Homepage, meetings page. You should have gotten a copy. Actually, you get maybe a link mailed to you from Sherry.
No, I just checked. I didn't see it. I'll find it. Keep going.
All right. So piano wheels is the next item. I was just down there. I sent a text to everybody. We got a guy that came off of a Facebook post about wanting to do our wheels, which is kind of a challenging thing. What?
No, well, I just went to this town site and I saw that Peter May died.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Sorry.
I saw that like 2 hours ago. I was just about to say, would you see that Peter May died Monday?
I'm on the site. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I've
Okay, sorry.
been having that. Yeah, I've had that same reaction for the last like 3 hours since I found out. I really liked him. So building maintenance. So piano wheels. We got a guy off of a Facebook post for super cheap. It was $100 to replace the wheels. We got in. We had a broken leg. He's a Finnish carpenter. He replaced both of the legs this afternoon. I think our bill for the whole thing is going to be under $200 or around $200. So I think it's a good bargain. The wheels are nice. The pianos, he got the new wheels on. We put the new legs on this afternoon. We rolled it out into the main room, sort of in towards the front where there was a folding table, and it's sort of living there for right now. Let's leave it there if we can. If we need to move it, I suppose we could move it in that other room. I was going to put it back.
No, Chris, we're going to have to. The reason why is because we've made the space available to any of the event hosts to come in and sell their own work. And there's really
for
no
this
other
week?
place to put those two tables.
For the month.
So for the
Okay.
for the whole month. Well, not
Well,
well,
we-
every time we're open on Thursday and Saturdays.
Okay. Well, then we can move. Let's see. I'll go by there tomorrow and work with you or whatever. We'll move it. It should be pretty stable. I just we've been moving it around, and that leg's been just sort of
Yeah, I
dogging
know.
me. So I just kind of like, just leave it. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah, because I
fixed.
saw in the picture there was the table folded up next to it.
Yeah.
But we're having 2 event hosts for each session, and that's why we put 2 tables up so that each artist can have a 6-foot table for their work.
Okay. All right. So we'll fix that.
Sorry about that.
The reason that it wasn't where it was before is because there's pictures there, and I put it up, and the pictures, it just conflicted too much. So that seemed
Yeah,
like nothing was going on over there. And I was like, oh, okay. So we'll, just be ginger. It should be fine. It should be better than ever when moving it. It actually rolls pretty good. So if you have 2 people and the wheels are fixed, but I'm just cautious because it literally is an hour, it just got fixed. So it's just be a little bit, cautious with it, and that'll be fine. So that's piano wheels. Like I said, it's a really good deal. It's hard to get somebody to do that kind of thing. The guy that we got, his wife is actually on the Arts Council, I believe, Jamie. Not my girlfriend Jamie, but Jamie, whoever's on the Arts Council, it's her husband. And so I don't know, I can't remember the last name, but he's a Finnish carpenter. He's really cool. He slid in, he did the stuff, no BS in scheduling and all that kind of stuff. And it seems to be pretty good. He's available for other little projects that I'm sure we have and that we can discuss at some point. And he's psyched about it, and he's into it. He's like Rich Testa. I mean, he's not only into it for the work, he's into it because he digs what we're doing. And at this point, I mean, what we have is just so outstanding. I mean, I'm still just kind of waking up to the fact that it's over and I don't have to do this every single day and go in there, and it's just always awesome and it's not a disaster every day. So the guy that did the piano is great. We're going to use him probably for some other stuff.
And I'm sorry, what's his name?
It is, let me tell you, it's right here. Dennis Dudley Kramer.
Okay, thank you.
So does anybody have any questions about the piano or the piano wheels or any of that? Okay. Next item up on the list is the bank building next door with the ownership change. And that's relative to us because we're doing the accessible entrance off the back. As you all know, we went through many iterations of that, and then that got put on pause when our architect advised us that for safety issues on the interior, we needed to do work there and prioritize our money. We took that advice and we just did the renovation that we had. And future monies that are coming in specifically for accessibility. We got $25,000 in the last state budget. So we've got that money around, and that can be for the back, that can be for lifts, that can be for other stuff. But it is restricted funding in that it has to be for some sort of accessibility. And our other money was unrestricted funding. So we as a board, we could pretty much decide where that went. For this stuff, there's a little bit more, I wouldn't say scrutiny. I don't think if as long as we don't go outside the lines of what is commonly considered accessibility, which would be like lifts and access and stuff surrounding that, we can do it. So we're talking about the back entrance and we're talking about the bank. So the bank had an ownership change. And since they're going to be our partner with this, I sent an email out. A few people were copied on it on Sunday to the town administrator. He got back within minutes, and he has had conversations. I indicated that we wanted to open up a relationship through the proper channels through town to be a good neighbor and to work on accessibility issues in the future. And I just indicated that we wanted a seat at the table for the discussions with the new owner of the building next door. Initial discussions have been had. As expected, they are, it's anticipated that they're gonna need some zoning relief for however they redevelop the building. And when people need zoning relief, that means they're very much open to negotiation. We need a little bit of negotiation. We probably need some money. We probably need to dig some things up and establish that relationship. The relationship has begun. The town administrator has met with the attorneys of the new property and communicated our needs, desires, and wants for the future. And there will be future meetings, but we're off to a positive start in becoming good neighbors with the people that bought that building. Does anybody have any questions on any of the communications between the town administrator and or the new owners of our building and or our accessibility on the back and things that relate to that? Okay. Any questions, reach out to me. I can answer those. It's ongoing fluid discussion, so things will change and we'll update about it next month. Next item is basement water. As you know, we've had water down there. We had a boiler change. We had a lot of things going on. I'm going to initiate some communications soon, now that we finished a lot of the other projects that we have, to just see what we can do about water down there. If we consider lifts and things like that in the back, we're going to have to work on that. It may be tied into some of the digging and accessibility we have to do with drainage and things like that. But, there's also the chance that we could do some remediation in the form of there's things like dry lock, which are concrete sealers, which could solve the problem. It would be great if it did. We don't know, but I'm moving the basement water issue, which has been ongoing for a long time, up on the priority list now that we've finished a bunch of stuff. And I'll follow up in the months coming up as I initiate communications on that. So that covers basement and future lift for the basement. The lifts in the lift that go down to the basement or the lift to go upstairs, there's various configurations. And when we talk about this, you know, we're starting to talk about the idea of doing things like this instead of an elevator being a $500,000 cost at last pricing. These lifts can be anywhere from as cheap as $5,000, unlikely, to $25,000, $30,000 and scale 2 floors. The idea would be that, you know, as opposed to spending $500,000, we could maybe spend a lot less than that and get accessibility from the basement and then accessibility to the upstairs floors. We're waiting for money to come in. That's still it's still out there, but it could be an alternative to an elevator, which, despite working on it for 3 or 4 years now, we really haven't come up with an excellent plan. I think we've looked at it a lot of ways, and since money doesn't grow on trees, these things might be an option. Does anybody have any questions on any of that stuff?
Does it follow the guidelines? The ADA guidelines?
As you know, to be investigated. I believe so. But that's part of the due diligence. Is it even an option?
Right.
It's an option in that they exist.
Right.
You know, I don't know about more specific than that. The idea that it exists, I believe it does, though, because I was in Florida at an art gallery built into an old hotel, and they had that, and they got their ADA clearance. It was like an old hotel with 2 floors, like a motel, and each of the old rooms was like an art studio. It was really cool, and they had one of those on the side, and that covered their ADA down there. But it's to be determined for sure. Next item, number 4, is our rear building lights. Notice with the lighting designer, as we were going over things and as we're going through our punch list, that, you know, we don't have lighting back there. We've talked about it in various ways. I got a few estimates for some things that didn't seem to jive with where we were at the time. And as I discussed it with Rich and we went out back, we looked up on the side of the building and noticed that we do have the safety and emergency lights all in the building, but they've just been blown since we've taken over the building. So they were on there. It's a standard thing, you know, safety lights on the outside. So the discussion has changed, and Doug has helped me with some research, and we have a whole series of lights that we've looked at. We've narrowed it down to like 1 or 2, but basically we're going to put in a request, and these lights are only like $100-ish a piece, and there's 2 of them back there. We're going to put in a request to see if we can get the town electrician. I'll buy them at Home Depot, source them, see if we can put lights back there and have them do that. If they can't, don't want to, we'll probably go back to Sanibel Electric, who is our vendor from before, and get those lights installed. I've got that on the building task to-do list. You know, expect that hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days, lights will be acquired, money will be spent, and hopefully that money will be under $500 unless we have to go to an outside vendor. This is a safety issue with the whole building, so I think it, you know, in reality, if we have to go to an outside vendor and it's a couple $1,000s, I think it's something that I can reasonably request the DPW to pay, since it's more of an infrastructure issue and less of a upgrading issue.
So Chris, when you guys looked and saw the lights out there,
Yeah.
so the fixtures are there, but the bulbs are blown, or do we know that the light fixtures don't work?
Well, they're essentially burnt out. I don't know if the terminology is blown or bulb. It's called a wall pack light, and
Okay.
they sell them. They're LED now, so I don't know if the ones that are up there are like bulbs or not bulbs, but you can kind of see them. They're sort of rusted and falling off the building. The big takeaway here is that they're already wired, so there's already stuff from the panel all the way up on the side of the building. Whether they're active or not, I don't know. Whether they have to replace those wires or not, I don't know. But they are existing. So so hopefully we just go and buy the lights and have somebody stick them on, and it's done. But if the lights, if the wires and the circuits to them are blown or there's a problem, we'd have to rerun them. But since there's already conduit, they should be able to just tie it to one end and pull it through, and it shouldn't be as big of a deal. But it is an infrastructure thing. It's like any building in town needs to have these safety lights on the outside, and we had them. They just blew 7 years ago, and we didn't know anything about that when we took over this building. And I think at this point, we're much more in tune with the building requirements and DPW and all the various participants throughout the municipality, and including us. So at this point, I think it's really just, hopefully it's as simple as saying, hey, this is an existing thing that blew, the bulb went out, whatever. The fixtures are definitely dead. You can kind of see just by looking at them. And the cost to remedy this looks to be under $500. So it seems like we sort of had a win with that. And this is with Rich a couple times has just pointed out strikingly obvious things that, we've been looking so close and we've been so far up in our faces that, we can't see what's going on. And he just basically said, you can probably solve your problem for $300. And
That'd be great.
yeah, that'd be great. And it's dark back there. In addition to it being dark
Yep,
back
it is.
there, I was a little worried about some unintended consequences, because when the lights come on there, they're going to bounce off the bank building. And when we're in the gallery at night, you look at those windows, it's just black. But when we put lights out there, they're going to bounce off the bank building and we're going to be seeing the side of the bank building. So I've been a little bit worried about unintended consequences, but it's been pointed out to me that this is a safety issue. So if we happen to start seeing the building there, my unintended consequences really are moot. So, but just thinking through everything, not just running at it. We've been running at so many things and solving problems that, I have come across some unintended consequences, and I was just trying to have some forethought. But it seems as if that's good. The rear hallway's got some stuff, but I think we're okay on that as far as, things that we need to talk about in a public meeting, and I'll keep working on that. Also, I talked to the electrician about the front torch lights that are on the sides of the building. Those are the ones, on either side of the door that they look like the gas lamps, but they're actual lights. They were supposed to replace the sockets in there, and they never did. And that was sort of a throw in. We were doing the deal and he said, I'll replace your sockets. That takes 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. I went to replace those lights with some new LEDs that are programmable and stuff. And when we did, one of them just fell over and the lights are just rusted and crumbling. So I followed up with the electrician for like the 5th time, who told me I'm the pickiest person he's ever met. And, I told him that's great. I take it as a compliment. And we talked about that, and he was going to replace the sockets, but then he said that it might make more sense to just replace the lights with something that's basically the same or extremely similar. We have a conversation going on with that. So hopefully we get that squared away. When I had the lights in it, the standard white lights, one light is at like 5,000 K, which is the white blue, the light hot blue, and one of them is at 3,000 K, which is what we just did the gallery at. And so they don't match. So I told them, we got to do something, because even though they're falling over and stuff, they don't match, and we can't have lights that look different. That just doesn't make sense. So I'll follow up on that with the other stuff there. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Yeah, well, actually, no,
Counterintuitive.
not on that, but lights in general. So
Sure.
we've been listening to some interesting feedback from people on the lights, that the strips around the windows,
Yeah.
and there are definitely two camps. There are camps that hate the multicolors, and there are other camps that really want like a single color or a more muted color. And that's just from listening to people around town, and also at the recent events.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you guys might be hearing.
I've heard different thoughts on that. I think that's something that we could probably handle offline and talk about how we think it needs to make sense. There's definitely some options there. We had the controllers left out and lights got changed, and that didn't really go over well, at least with me, because I spent many hours doing that. But I'm open to conversations as to how we could manage it in the future. And I think it's something we can definitely do offline.
Okay, great. I think one of the requests from the actual Arts Collaborative right now to be able to continue with us having the show for the rest of the month is if we could turn them to white or some pale color while we're in the show. That's that seems to be a common thread from folks. So we'll take it
Okay.
offline, Chris, but just to let you know, that's where people's heads are at.
Okay. And we can do that for your show if that's what your team wants.
Yep,
For the
yeah,
collaborative.
that'd be great.
Okay, where are we? We are at, okay, so next one is counters and snack bar. That's the concept of putting the food and stuff coming out of the back room. And where we've currently blocked it off, and Joy came up with that interesting way to block the window so that we can hang artwork on that wall. We've also had discussions about putting in like a snack bar or a countertop there. I just say that those discussions are still going on now that we have a new carpenter guy around. He's talked about that. I've received some drawings, and I'll share with everybody, over the next month or so if we have some ideas on that, or we'll bring it up to the next meeting to see if people are interested in various options. The hardest part about doing anything with that is really getting somebody to do it. We got a guy to do our baseboards. We got some other people to do some things. And, the guy that did our baseboards is awesome. And he swore he could do a bunch of other stuff, but he hasn't responded to stuff at all. And really getting craftspeople is difficult, which is why it's the same guy that did the piano. And so, which is why it was great that we got him. He's local. He's very much into what we're doing, whereas the other people were just tradespeople. The guy that did our baseboards really only did them because he's friends with the guy that did the floor, and it helped him finish the floor. It was a polishing piece. Otherwise, I don't think we would have heard back from him. It's a simple job. It was a good job for them for a rainy day. We got them, really quickly and at a certain point, but I don't think we would have gotten any response. Had it not been, he had a relationship with the floor guy, and it really helped him finish the floor. In that same respect, I've gotten window people to. I had one person I was trying to hire, and the guy came and he left before he even met me, and he sort of ran off, which was strange. Rich, our lighting guy, described him to me, and I called him up and I said, "What's going on?" And he was just in a panic, and he said we were too big. We had cracks in our windows. He was worried about this. He was worried about that. So obviously he's not the guy for us. It was just kind of weird how he came to an appointment for me and never actually walked in the building. He walked around the outside and Rich saw him. And then anyways, I talked to him. He can't do it. He's not into it.
Is this just washing them from the outside?
Yeah. Inside and outside, giving them, doing a window washing. So he flaked out on us. And then there's a company called like Dave's Gutter, which a lot of people referred me to. And I called them and talked to them and eventually got in communication with them. And what they said was, that they're just too busy with gutter work and that they couldn't get to us until, at least next year. So they're out. So we're still looking for somebody to do the windows. I think they need to be done. And I'll just keep trying. I mean, we lucked out with the piano guy. It's good that we have a carpenter guy, but I just haven't been able to get anyone to do it. If somebody would actually show up and do it, I don't know what it's going to cost. We've all taken guesses at what it's going to cost. My guess is that it's going to be between $300 and $500, just because of the amount of time it takes and the expected rate of pay. But we haven't got anybody to say that they're willing to do the job. So as soon as we can, or if we find somebody or somebody, let them know.
Are we asking them to replace the broken ones or the cracked ones?
Well, we could. I mean, we definitely need window work done. If somebody will just clean the windows, I'm happy with that. If they're also able to replace broken windows, I'm happy. We definitely need to get broken windows replaced and some other things, but we need somebody who's going to show up.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't found that person. So yeah.
I wonder who the DPW works with for other town buildings
for washing
or
for
fixing.
window.
It's still a town.
I think the fixing thing and the washing thing, while related, I think it would be easier to get somebody to fix a couple windows because of the way that it cuts out. That's a sort of, but getting somebody to wash them is a different deal, because at that point they need either a bucket truck or ladders, and they need to go up and they need to scrape them. we have a couple, sort of shattered windows that I think we could get replaced, but they've also been that way for the last 5 years, many of them. So as far as making it, to the top of the priority list, probably not going to happen until we get a window cleaner or somebody punches a hole through one of them. In which case it'll just, it'll all of a sudden be on the top of the list. But given the amount of things that we have now, I'm just looking for people to help, and hopefully we can find one.
So Chris, do you know who DPW uses to wash the windows in the other build? I mean, they must use somebody in town to wash all the windows in town.
Yeah, I don't actually know. But regarding DPW, all of these things are processes. It sounds simple, but I have, 15 lines of conversation. I'm trying to get them to fix the bathroom. I'm trying
No,
to
I
get
mean,
them.
just, have them give you a name of the person they use. Maybe you can contact them directly. That's all.
Yeah, I don't actually think they have a person, to be honest with you. They might, and I can ask them, but
Yeah, it never hurts to ask, right?
but priority wise, what I'm saying is that I've got 15 things to ask them before that would actually be something that I would offer out. It's very difficult to do the whole cycle. So absolutely, when the time comes and when it reaches a level of priority where that's an opportunity, I'll do it. If somebody else wants to ask them, that's great. Just if I start talking to the DPW, I'm going to ask them about 15 more things before I ask about that. But yeah, absolutely. If they have somebody, great. Once we get it up on the priority list. So we were at counters and snack bar. So counters and snack bar is the concept of putting that in there. We've got the carpenter guy. We'll see if we get anything there. Windows and the other stuff, we just talked about that. I think that's it for counter, snack bar, and anything that's under that item. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
So is the payment counter, what's the status of that? I know it was being painted white, and there was talk about putting the glass back on, but not sure.
Oh, the counter.
Yeah.
The status of that right now is what do you call it? Is basically that isn't assigned to a vendor. We were doing that. Jamie and I did that to finish it off because the counters and the cabinetry and all that stuff wasn't included in our bid. So I talked to them, and they were potentially going to do it. The painter is going to potentially come in and paint the back room. We got down to the wire, and basically everything that was committed to in contract has been completed, and these other things were add-ons. And so at this point, the add-ons, he's going to come back and do some stuff. I could have the painter do it. He's a little bit more expensive. We got it to a state of paint. The glass is around. We can figure out what to do with that. The real thing is it's primed right now. It looks okay white. The original design is for it to be black. So it's got all the primer on it. And when there's an opportunity, meaning that Jamie, myself, or someone who's willing to do it that's not a current contractor is available, and there's time for it to dry and it doesn't conflict with your show, it can be done. But really what happened was that got done by like Sunday night, and you all came in on Monday and then worked like hell. And we moved everything out. So basically, when you guys came in, quite frankly, after a day, we got the hell out of the way. We let you set up your show, and basically I stopped showing up because I've been there every single day. I've got a lot of passion involved in everything that we've done because I have a zillion hours in there, and I just had to get out of there because I couldn't stand being questioned to death about every single little thing because I've been doing it for months. Once the show's done, or if somebody has a very strong opinion that they want stuff painted, that's great. I'm guessing it's going to happen in November by the time we get somebody that can do it. And the plan was for the counters to be black and the glass to get laid back in. But that's not really the full plan. That was just to get to a complete look that was in scope with our design. The full plan was really interview some other vendors to do something fun with the counter. Whether we're going to have budget for that or not, I don't know. I think, white or black, it's at least kept. You know what I mean? At this point, it's at least.
The white isn't bad at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not pushing to try and get it to be black right now. So the white's very acceptable.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know what your plans were. And I was thinking that if I'm gonna go open the building tomorrow night, I was maybe gonna put those other pieces of glass back just to give it a little bit more finished kind of look.
Okay, those pieces of glass are very heavy. They need to be cleaned.
All right, then maybe
I
they
wouldn't
stay where
tomorrow
they are.
night.
Bigger than you think, Kathy. It's bigger job.
Yeah,
Yep, sounds bigger.
if
Okay,
the
that's
desire is for the glass to go back in, we can get that done this weekend. But I would be hesitant to say, go move the piano tomorrow, start moving the glass around. You know, I'd be very hesitant to that. That'd make me a little uncomfortable.
Okay,
So do we have the paint?
Yep, we've got all the paint. We've got, that was primed. I bought the primer for that. We've got the black paint. We've got white paint. We've got paint. Yeah, we've got paint for that. You know, we don't have, you know, gobs of paint, but I mean, you know, what do we talk? You know, we don't need lots of paint to paint that. But I think the big thing is that was all brown and still had that old look, and the painter was out and he did his contract. And for the show, we looked at it and we were like, it's just too ugly. You know, we have to at least prime it. And so, you know, and it was actually Jamie who was like, I can't live with myself if they do the show with this like that. And so she took, you know, her Sunday and put 10 hours into it, you know, getting everything done, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So, yeah, we got the paint. It's all good. Any more questions on counters, paint, lights, any of that stuff?
no,
Okay. Okay, so next one is website updates. Doug's not here, but I had him update the website for the show. It got updated like on the Friday of the show because it was still the call to artists. And then I was like, oh my God. And I sent him a text on, I think, the Thursday, and he did it at lunch on Friday. So the site should be updated with the hours and the last press piece that Kathy sent out to people. So that should be, what do you call it? That should be what's on the website. And I'm sure he'll do
okay,
more.
and actually for the press release, I did not see it in the item. So
Yeah.
I sent a new one tonight and added some more information about the ACW and took out the opening night. So I CC'd Joy and Chris on that as well, so you guys can see that.
Did you send him a picture?
I didn't send them a picture, but I did send them the 4 different logo images.
Okay. So
But you're
yeah,
right,
you
that's a
gave
good
him
point,
some
Joy.
picture.
And if you don't hear from the item, there's not, you know, next time or in the future, if 3 days go by and or you know, a week goes by and you haven't heard from them, I mean, give them a reply and just be like, hey guys, did you run this? Maybe you missed it. I mean, they generally don't, but you know, sometimes they do. So maybe just slip through the cracks. But I mean, if you send it once, it doesn't happen in a couple of days and you hit a reply, they will reply if you do it. They're
Yep,
not,
I just didn't. I wasn't able to get to it till tonight to resend.
Gotcha. All right, so the website's updated. Doug will continue working on that. You know, that seems to be working good. I mean, we had website update for a long time, and now we've got a pretty simple one that's not high maintenance, and Doug's holding it. So I would say, in general, the website I'm pretty happy with in that it's fairly up to date. It's not super robust, but we also don't have staff to make it super robust. You know, I think our stuff is much more physical. We're not building a website application to catalog all the artists in the state. We partner with the Arts Collab so that we have an artist inventory, which is important to get funding. But beyond that, you know, you guys have your website with people's portfolios, and you know, I don't think we have the bandwidth to have people going beyond just announcing what we have going on. I think it looks good. I
It
think
does
all
look
that.
good. I'm looking at it right now.
I think all the work we did with our logo a year or two ago, whenever that was, I think that's paying off. I think our sign looks good. You know, I think the things that we have next coming up that aren't on the agenda that are important regarding logos and web and things like that. Now that we have a solid logo, we need to get some signage for the back doors. We need to probably get some signage around the building and label some things. You know, a sticker on the back door so it identifies us. And you know, we have the thing on the entrance when you walk in that's like an old design that Anne Marie did. for the Albion Culture Exchange. We probably need to go through and trash the ones that aren't our official logo. We have, 5 or 6 different iterations in various places. We probably should take those down and just be consistent everywhere with the one logo. Nothing, nothing super tragic, just something we will get to in the next couple months. But the good news is we can get to it because we've got a logo, we've got a sign. We just need to make everything uniform and just trash the stuff that was, in a holding place until we got to where we're at. Does anybody have any questions on logos, signage, or website? Okay, cool. Current events review, Squareworks show is going on. My one comment is, aside from the fact that it looks fabulous, I commend whoever did the balancing. And, I know from doing shows, and I've gone through the aggravation cycle, and I left you guys all to figure it out on your own, sort of, a little bit. I know it's hard to get everything level. And I think that you probably came up with some innovative techniques, because I came in one day and everything was crooked. And I came in the next day and it was all leveled. And I said, I'm sure somebody has a backache and a headache, but it looks awesome. And balancing stuff on the hanging system is challenging. And we can probably talk about that for hours, but I got nothing else to say since it's you all show. So what do you want to say?
Show's been well received. We had great foot traffic the opening night, and slow but still steady on the Saturday. Tomorrow night will be our first Thursday. We'll see how that goes.
Awesome. And you said you had some press out for it, hopefully, if they publish it.
Hopefully, yep.
And then your Saturday 10 to 2?
Yep.
Cool.
Every Saturday in October, 10 to 2, and every Thursday in October from 6 to 8.
All right. That's cool. Yeah, actually, I got something else to say, but it comes up on another topic. So does anybody else have any comments about the Squareworks show? Like it, hate it, comments, observations, hysterical observations?
I saw it. I thought it was great.
Awesome.
So well arranged, so well coordinated, so exciting to see all the different artists. I thought it was terrific. When I was there, there was a crowd.
Yeah. When'd you go? Opening night?
So congratulations.
Nice. How many pieces in the show?
150.
150? Awesome. I thought at one point you said you had 180. Was that right? Or was that
165.
165?
Yeah.
Cool. And you did all the balancing, Joy?
With Andrea, yes.
Yeah. It was difficult, right?
It was a chore.
Well, good job.
A lot of emotion.
Yeah. I've gone through that emotion. I understand. Great job. You guys did a great job. Completely out of order, but actually, no, it's not out of order. It's listed. I have it on my sheet listed next to the Squareworks. The toilet, we had a toilet malfunction, and I reported it to the DPW on Monday. I just replied to it because nobody got back to me and acknowledged even receiving it. So, I just reported what happened. You all were there. You know what happened. For those who weren't there, the toilet overflowed. It wasn't super gross or anything, but it was inconvenient and not welcome. Some people plunged and tried to do some things, but we are aware that there are plumbing issues all around that town. We had some backflow sewage issues in the new bathrooms already, and it could be related to that. And I talked to Matty the plumber a couple times, sometimes not when I wanted to, but he indicated that there's some stuff and maybe kind of like snaking way back in there, but there's plumbing issues in the downtown and going into that building, and hopefully they had the opportunity to look at it. I've requested an update as to what's going on, and the bathrooms continue to work. But, that was probably one of the busiest times for those bathrooms since they've been in existence, even though they've been there since March of 2020. Really only a flush here and there when we've been there. And at that point, you probably had a bunch of flushes. So it's a good test on the system, and hopefully we'll get an update as to whatever's going on. I think at the end of the day, whatever they find that's going on is just going to be unclogged, and we're going to move on with our bathrooms. So that was just an addendum to the Square Work show because it happened during the Square Work show. Does anybody have any comments, questions on that? Hi, Doug.
This is Monty.
Hi, Monty. Next one's future events review, and 7:53. So I'll try to get us through this in like the next 5 or 10 minutes because I know people have lives. Future event review. This is an idea on here that I put on that I have. If people want to think about it. I don't have any organization or thoughts on that at the moment, but there's the self-portrait show. We could maybe do an artist challenge where we challenge people to do self-portraits and show that off in an exhibit in the future, or potentially in just a section of the gallery during other exhibits. If someone's interested, just, I figured I'd throw it out there. Nimble Thimblers, which is what, Andrea, right? She's on the schedule for November, some dates in November. I don't have them in front of me, but I know that there's no
Yeah, I'm
conflicts.
looking at what's on the calendar in the ACA site, and it starts on November 3rd, Wednesday, and goes to, I think, November 13th. It's a little
Yeah.
confusing because it says Nimble Thimblers exhibit setup and show for every date.
Yeah.
So my guess is they probably have a couple of days for setup, and then it becomes the show. So
Yeah.
I'll ask Andrea to provide concrete information, and then we can get that to Doug for him to clean up.
Well, because
I actually
moving
do that part. That's on the schedule.
Oh,
The
you do that
schedule's-
part? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually done through our Google Calendar.
Okay.
And it ports right into the website, so Doug doesn't have to do anything. I actually put that in. She just gave me the dates, and that was the extent of the info. So if you get an update for her on what exactly each date is, I can update it.
But moving forward, when people are going to have shows in the building, we
Yeah.
are going to have to give them enough time to be able to set up.
Did we not with her?
No, but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
should become a given, wrestling with the hanging system and all that.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to have to work that in.
And I think we're gonna probably have to do hanging system training and explain to people how to do it. Because I mean, I know a bunch of tricks, and then I haven't touched it in a couple months. And I'm sure you know a bunch of tricks. And rather than just make it so painful for everybody, and maybe we don't even need. Maybe we need to buy different types of hooks. Because I mean, we have really expensive hooks, and our vendor provides them. But I'm sure there's other ones that might be better, or just it's a whole gamut. How do you hang things? I guess it's a big subject. And it's a frustrating subject. So it's definitely something I think that, we need to provide people. And like you said, give them plenty of time because it's hard.
Chris?
Yeah.
The garden club is there November 11th for our evening meeting.
Right. It's on the calendar, isn't it?
Okay.
I believe it's on there. It should be on there.
If
That was a-
anybody is interested, it's natural selections for New England gardens, a professional speaker. It's just a $5 guest fee if anybody would like to join us.
I think committee members get in for free, I would think. No, I'm serious.
That's fine.
General public, yeah. What do you call it? Let's see here. Let's look at our
Hey,
thing.
Chris, one other thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Arts Collaborative dates that you have for our monthly meetings.
Yeah.
You have it at 6:30. We actually
listening.
start at 7. Just FYI.
Let me look. What does it say? Here we go.
6:30.
Okay. Do you feel it needs to be changed?
Well, yeah, I don't want someone showing up at the building at 6:30 when there's no one there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sure. Let me write that down. 6:30. ACW change 7 p.m. All right. I got that as a note for me. Is the ACW doing a holiday show?
Yes, we're very interested. I want to talk to Joy about having a meeting the third Wednesday and make sure that we're really committed to wanting to do this. I don't know how burnt out we are after just doing this this show, so want to make sure we really are committed to moving forward with a holiday show. There is a bit of interest. It'll just take some coordination. So we don't, I think we're looking at, hang on, let me look at the calendar. I think we're looking at the 11th of December.
Okay.
So we would start to firm that up in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, bring it to November, or just, you know, text it in. If for some reason the time frame is a little shorter, text it in. We'll figure out a way to make it work.
Yep.
I mean, now that
And it
we've
would be
got,
for the weekends too. It would be the 11th and 12th, the Saturday and the Sunday.
yeah, cool. Yeah, now that we're live, you know, go. Let's use the building, use it. You know, no reason for it to sit there empty at all. And you know, I think we'll have to revisit. We need to, and I think you were working on this. We need to revisit our form, our application form, and I think that's super important for insurance reasons and as well as direction reasons. You know, I think we need to state more clearly. You know, we have had the fact that we do partnerships, not rentals, is sort of the way that we've taken it for many, many years. And so I want to make sure that we get the language for the fact that we do partnerships and collaborations. We're not a function hall. I don't see us as a function hall unless people want to change the thinking that we've been going with. You know, there's places like the Civic Center that do function hall stuff. We don't have janitorial staff. We don't have garbage. So we're a carry in, carry out venue. And the idea is to advance arts and culture in the town. And, you know, we have our form that requires, you know, for instance, Don is doing the garden club. That qualifies. It's an arts and culture event. We approved it at a meeting a couple months ago. And what do you call it? And all of our events are to have committee people as a liaison for the event. So we have our committee member needs to be available at all events, because again, we don't have janitorial staff, and you know, we're not a function hall. We didn't just spend all this money to open up the building and have people trash it. So it's an arts and culture thing. There's an application process. There's an insurance process. There's a lot of stuff. And I think now that we've made it through a lot of this stuff, we need to get into that. I talked to a few people about stuff. I know that coming out of COVID, you know, the library has certain modified rules. I think the Civic Center has certain modified rules. We really need to get into it, because I think once people start seeing our building, we're going to start having everybody wanting everything from a bar mitzvah to other things to it. And there's just certain things that we don't do and nobody really cared before. But I think we're about to get a lot of attention. So I expect a lot of requests to come in, and we need to have a process, and we need to have our legal figured out. And that stuff was left in limbo over the last couple of years. And we need to figure it out. And I don't think we can move forward with a lot of stuff that's outside of the realm of a committee member or somebody putting in an application that's really focused on arts and culture to do. But we don't want to get ourselves in a pickle and not be prepared for what I expect to be an onslaught of requests. We're not really ready for that. We just finished the construction, and we need to protect the asset, because I don't see us as a function hall. I see us as a, you know, we're here to do arts, culture, and to contribute to economic development in downtown with our arts and culture events and all the stuff that we did with MAPC and all that sort of stuff. So we have a good directive, but we don't have any documentation on that really indicates our directive when people ask us for stuff. We just all kind of know what it is. So we need to get it in writing.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Okay. So we'll do that. Holiday Acapella, Joy, you're no longer at the high school, so you're probably not tuned in with any of those folks anymore, right? I'll Holiday Acapella, you know, maybe I'll send an email out in the next month or so, see what's going on. You know, I think we want to do more events. We want to get that stuff in that falls within our arts and culture realm. That is a recurring event. I'd love to get recurring events back. And then we can also look at the concepts that we looked at in the back of having a PA or other stuff to facilitate that, just as a holding place on our list.
The one thing with Acapella right now, Chris, is that with the mask mandate in public buildings, that probably is a logistics issue.
I agree.
which is a bummer because those were, well-attended events.
Those are sold. We didn't charge for it, but those were sold out events. That was wall to wall
Yep,
people.
those are SROs, standing room only.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what's going on there. We had talked about Carolyn Lieber at Wakefield Music doing some stuff there. They're still interested in that. They actually just paid to tune our piano today. And so, what do you call it? She's actually going to come in after you guys and work on the piano a little bit on Saturday. So you guys are done at 2. I believe she's coming in at 4. And she's going to, do some playing of the piano and working with a couple of our students for a few hours. They paid to tune our piano today. So we had our piano
Wow.
fixed, and the piano was tuned this morning at 9:30. And they're going to use it tonight. She's going to use it at some point in the future. She'll have a couple dates. She had sent us some stuff that had a lot of dates listed and some contractual language around it. We had a discussion about it and, talked about the fact that, we're doing partnerships and we're happy to do a partnership. But, and with Doug and a few other people had concerns, we didn't want to commit to something extreme or, many, many dates. But we kind of agreed with the idea that we want to get people involved. And so she's going to be in Saturday, I believe, at 4 for like 2 hours, playing the piano and working with a couple of her students. They'll probably do it in that room. But the, the partnership / agreement for that is tuning the piano and providing musicians and or accompaniment for things that we need in the future. And obviously she's a member of our arts community and she's a member of our arts council and, an important person within the realm of arts and culture, I think in town. So she's a very qualified individual and piano's been tuned. There'll be a little bit of stuff going on after 4 on Saturday. And really
So
nothing
is she
else
in there by herself?
She's going to be in there. I'm going to be in there on Saturday with her,
Okay.
seeing what's going on. So I'm the liaison for that.
Okay.
Again, our structure that we've used, and again, we have to put more words around this, is that generally speaking, there has to be a committee member present during this. So I'll be said committee member. And, like for instance, in the garden club thing, Donna is the committee member. So I'll probably be there. Actually, that's in the morning. I'll be at school. But Donna is the official de facto person for that. Anybody have any more questions on that?
Oh, actually, Chris, it's in the evening. The November 11th.
Oh,
meeting.
well, then I'll be there. Then we'll both be there.
I will need you.
We'll both be there. Okay, so some of this other stuff, I mean, there's tons of stuff down here. We don't have to go over it point to point. This is sort of holder stuff. We're at 8:06. People have lives. So if somebody has one of these other, I'm going to talk about post-construction outreach for a minute. And all of the stuff below that, basically, and I'm going to talk about art on the highway. All the stuff below that, I consider optional items. If someone sees something they want to talk about, let me know. It's just sort of some outlines of stuff to do in the winter for schedule stuff. What are we going to do in the winter? Is there going to be a winter show? Is there going to be a spring show? Joy, is there going to be AP art stuff this year? Is somebody going to take over? Are you going to, how's that going to work or not work? That sort of stuff. Go live events. We've talked about that before. Not time to talk about it tonight. I'm going to focus right now for a quick sec on post-construction outreach and community update. An invitation to the state delegation. I copied a few folks on here on an email that included some other topics, but I basically just, I'm going to have to present to the town council. And so I requested a time on their meeting agenda for January, at the end of January. So we don't end up in a situation where we're requested to do a presentation and given a short time frame. So much stuff has happened, and for me to put together a reasonable presentation on it, it's going to take me a little bit of time. There's a lot of decompressing I need to do from stuff that we've done. And so, but we do need to report back to the town council and tell them how we've been spending our money, even though lots of them know. So I requested a date in late January to present. I will present. Anybody that wants to present with me is fine. We'll be doing it from Zoom, hopefully, because I can't stand going to the meetings because they're cramped and crowded. So I like zooming in, and I'm happy to give a Zoom presentation to them. I also talked to the town administrator and a couple other people that were on the email about the state delegation. That would be Donald Wong, Jason Lewis, and Donald Wong, Jason Lewis, and Garabedian. What's her name? Kara Garabedian.
Kate
Uh,
Lippa Garabedian.
That's her. She came to our show. I've met her a couple times. I'm sorry, I don't know her name as quickly as the others. But those are the people that helped us get all this money a couple of years ago. Kate's a little bit new, but the rest of them, I've been down the State House. I've been in all their offices. They've done all that stuff. So it's just, natural that we want to bring them back and tell them that we use their money wisely and look at all the stuff that we were able to do and continue to support us and all that stuff. So I asked for a date, and rather than reach out to them individually and do it the way that I've done in the past, I asked the town administrator and the town councilors to just tell me, there's lots of events that all of them get together for, maybe 2 or 3 a month, but it's hard to get all those individual people together outside of those events. So I asked them to just figure out a date, within, but hopefully this month while the show's set up, for us to have them, give them a private tour or quasi-public tour. It doesn't need to be private. But just a date that all of them are in town and available to see it so that we can bring them in and physically walk them into the place. I'm waiting to hear about that. As far as post-show communication, I think there's press releases to be done. There's website updates to be done. There's a lot of stuff. I've already talked to the item about doing a story about it. We're ongoing with that. I also reached out to John Natali and a couple other people, some old writers that work for me. It's kind of like the contractors. I don't have time to write all the outreach stuff that we have. Normally I would. I don't have time to write all this stuff, and I just quite frankly don't want to. I'm tired. And so I haven't been able to get anybody to that skilled in PR. I'm going to keep, just like the window, I'm going to see if I can get some people to help us out. I'm building a presentation for town council. That's January, but we need to tell the community and we need to get some PR out there. And I'd like to get somebody that's talented in that. We've got a little bit of money left. So if we have to spend some amount of money to pay a professional writer to make our words look as good as the building, I think that's reasonable. And I'm going to move forward with that unless anybody just doesn't think that we need to communicate what we've done to the public.
No, I agree. We should. It should be it definitely be a priority.
Yeah. So in the next little bit here, so if we can get the state delegation in and we can get the town council in and get everybody there and get ourselves set up for January, we've hit the minimum amount of stuff that we need to do, but we need to do more than that. But once I can get the groundwork laid for that, I can then scaffold and layer on top of that more communications. Does anybody have any questions about community outreach, hiring PR people, state delegation, when I'm presenting the town council, or any of that kind of junk? Okay, cool. I'm going to skip through all these other items unless somebody has one regarding schedules and artist challenges and potential events. I'm going to drop down to number 12, which is Art on the Highway. Art on the Highway is something that I'm starting to incubate in my head, and I want to sell to you guys as a committee. It's based off of some things that I've seen around the country. In California, there's a little bit going on, and in Florida, there's going on. The idea is that you use billboards that are available, and we happen to have a billboard available to us, to the town, as part of our deal. We've put stuff up on it before. We have one panel on a billboard on 128 that's available with proper requests from the town administrator and content vetting. And my concept on this is to basically get art on the highway. That's the name I've given this idea that I have, that I want to incubate and see if we can't put structure around it. The other programs around the country where people are doing this, one's out in Southern California. Another one is in Tampa, and they come in different flavors, and there has to be a vetting process for what actually goes up on the billboards that's acceptable to all the people involved. But one in Florida is actually a series of billboards from Tampa to Orlando, and they're sort of coordinated. And I think it's like 27 billboards. And what happens is they put all their curated art in there. And from driving from Tampa to Orlando, you essentially go through a virtual art gallery by passing all these billboards, these digital billboards that have different pieces of art. And it becomes an art show while you drive and take your 2-hour drive from Tampa to Orlando. sponsored by some arts groups. It just seems really cool. And just, I've used the billboard before, and just being able to put stuff on the billboard is cool. As you know, essentially people that curate art and culture in the town of Wakefield at this point, I think it's something that's aligned with our mission. And if I could get permission and some program structure around it to be able to pitch it to the town administrator and the town council, in my version of it, I would point to the Arts Collaborative if I could get structure around this to be the providers of said art and provide an opportunity under whatever guidelines we end up coming up with to put art on the highway. That's why I called it that, because it's, it needed a name. The other ones have different names. And basically the idea would be that we've got our A Center, and we have a program that puts art on the highway throughout the course of the year, and it comes through our inventory of artists. I think it sounds super cool, which is why I'm actually putting it together and spent time to think of a title for it. What say you? That's my idea so far. Like it, hate it. Hit me.
Interesting concept. I don't know. We'd have to put something like that once you have a framework, we could put it in front of the Arts Collaborative to see if the Arts Collaborative, it latches on with them and whether they'd be willing to pursue that. So, I think it needs some content before we can really get it in front of folks.
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah.
I love the raw idea.
You love the idea?
I love the idea, the raw idea.
Yeah. It's definitely raw
Yeah.
at this point, and it's
Right.
partly copied
Without
from
you
other people.
planning it.
Yeah. I think
It's really cool.
I think it'd be cool. I think the big thing is going to be the structure of what is acceptable to get in, and Arts Collaborative or not. If we put some structure around it, the structure would be what the qualifiers are that would make everybody happy. And the Arts Collaborative could be one of many feeders. They don't necessarily own it. But given that the Arts Collaborative is our in-house art group, I would, venture to say that we would, offer priority and/or, that would be an organized way to do it. If we open, I think it would, in general, it would be open to the general public, whatever structure gets around it. But the reason that would be is because the Arts Collaborative is open to the general public. So whatever rules we put on there, we can figure out whether it has something to do with ACW, but I think the rules would be the same whether it went through ACW or whether it was just open in general. But there are definitely some curation challenges.
I would think there would be.
Yeah. So that's called Art on the Highway. That's a new idea that we're putting out there, and I'm gonna hold on to it for a while and see if we can't make something of it. 8:16. We did it in about an hour after everybody got on here. I have nothing else except, if anybody has any questions about anything, now would be the time to put them out there. If you have any unanticipated topics, if you have anything you want to talk about, anything that wasn't brought up, speak now or forever, or at least for tonight, hold your peace. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about? All right. So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So
I move
moved.
that we adjourn.
All
Adjourn.
right. We're done.